Okay, good evening people and welcome back to my channel. I am Khash, and it's been forever since I've done any kind of video. Let's be honest here. It's been at least 6 months. I don't know. But I kind of figured, with the ranking videos that I've done in the past, I'm not the kind of guy who can really say this is my number one, all-time definite number one, because I go through different moods as does everyone else. And if you don't, you're boring. If you can say this is all-time number one and not go through a phase in your life and like, actually, this album's pretty good. Maybe it's better than my number one. You're kind of boring. Not really open-minded. Anyway, forget that. So I'm going to go with a bit of a review. I'm going to go through the albums like one video at a time. One album per video type thing. Something that was... They re-released in about 2005. The whole catalogue was re-released about 2005, maybe 2004. I can't really remember. So, who is it? It's none other than this guy, Mr. Bruce Dickinson. All right. Now, this is the debut solo album. Yeah, debut solo. We're not going on to the Maiden career. That's just going to take forever. Which I might do at some point, but with Maiden, and it comes to the albums since 2000, it's going to get really difficult for me. But I've been listening to these a lot. I managed to complete the collection again because I lost the collection years ago. When I originally had it, they were like slipcases. I had to re-get them, and they got slipcases, which really sucks. But 1990s Tattooed Millionaire. Right, the whole album, from Bruce's own words, it's a joke. Yeah, it's a piss take, and it's to do with everything that was going on at the time. The way the music scene was in 1990, the way his career was, and just in general everything. And it all started from one song, right, which wasn't even on the original album. Okay, so around 89, 90, Bruce got approached by the creators of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I believe it was New Line Cinema still at that time. They were doing Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, and they wanted a song. So they went to Bruce. For some reason, don't know. It worked out great in the end. That song that he wrote, I just had a quick flick through the book, and apparently it was written in about 5 minutes. I read it like 20 minutes ago. I can't remember. Written in about 5 to 10 minutes in the toilet. Now, I don't know whether it was on the bog or what, but apparently it was done acoustically. And like I said, it never made to the original album. Somewhere I've got the original album, I don't know where. I've got the original of this and the original of Boris Picasso. Yeah, I think. Oh well. Anyway, so let's go through the original album, right? So the track listing was Son of a Gun, Tattooed Millionaire, title track. Alright, Born in 58, Hell on Wheels, Gypsy Road, Dive, 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 All the Young Dudes, Licking the Gun, Zulu Lulu. That's you say that fast enough, it's a bit of a tongue twister. Zulu Lulu, there. And No Lies. That's the original album anyway. So before we go on to disc 2, because obviously this is the remastered, expanded edition. Right? Son of a Gun, it's kind of got that cowboy feel. The thing that was really going on late 80s, a lot of bands like Bon Jovi, they had this sort of cowboy feel theme. Like I said, I don't know how to describe it. Well, when I say Bon Jovi, I'm talking John Bon Jovi's solo album, Blaze of Glory, which was written for Young Guns 2, and even some of Bon Jovi's earlier stuff, it kind of had this cowboy feel, and a lot of American bands particularly were kind of adopting that sort of rhythm. And so, Bruce, being Bruce, he was getting sick of it. And like you said, this whole album is a bit of a piss take on how the music scene had changed, and he was saying that the American bands sort of had no feel, no brains, no soul, which is in the book. When it came to this sort of genre of music, which was taking over, and English bands were copying, and I guess he just felt like it had no meaning anymore, and he was taking the piss out of everybody who was doing it. Although, my opinion is, what's wrong with a lot of them songs? Yeah, there was the underlying live fast, die young sort of girls, girls, girls sort of thing, but they're good songs. I enjoy the songs. If you enjoy the songs, who cares what it's about? That's my opinion of it, and that's mostly reflected in "Tattooed Millionaire," the song, right? And it opens like tattooed boys with expensive toys, living in a bubble of sin. So that one's self-explanatory, and so is track 3, which is "Born in '58." Bruce was born in '58, and it's autobiographical. It's like born in my town '58, where black and white TV was up to date. Self-explanatory. The whole thing just sort of kind of goes a little bit of how his life, or how life in general, has changed. Understandable. Hell on Wheels, track 4. Okay, it's a fun song, even though apparently according to the book, I might get the book out. It's about, quoted, getting fellatio while driving. Alright, obviously, if you don't know what fellatio is, look it up. I don't know how to describe it in the most positive manner. I don't know. Anyway, Gypsy Road is more of it's a ballad, but it's not so much a power ballad, but it's just very, it's a build up. It's just a nice song, and it picks up a little bit. Then we got Dive, Dive, Dive. Now, I'm going to go to the book for this because it's got a lot of references. There was things from Captain Pugwash and one of the Carry On movies and stuff like that. Okay, so, oh look, nice pictures in the book. That was the band back then. I'll tell you who was in the band later. Obviously, you probably recognise 2 of the members straight off. Where was it? It was on this page. Okay, so Dive, Dive, Dive. It was tongue-in-cheek, and it has a carry-on sort of movie style in its roots, inspired by the 1958 submarine movie Run Silent, Run Deep, which eventually turned into an Iron Maiden song, Run Silent, Run Deep, off what was it wasn't their current album, but it was due to be released, No Prayer for the Dying. Yeah, starred Clark Gable, Burt Lancaster, uses torpedoes in a as a phallic metaphor. So it's awash with innuendo. A quote from Bruce: "We mix in some characters from a British TV series called Captain Pugwash, which featured a gentleman called Seaman Staines. Although sadly all his requests to use samples from the cartoon show were snubbed by its makers, in the end I had to go in and do the submarine noises myself. No muff too tough, we dive at 5, he repeats from the song's lyrics." I don't know what that word says, or I don't know how to pronounce it. Goffering loudly. Sniggering, basically. Still love it because it's so crass. Again, I don't know what crass is. I always thought it was class, but yeah, so that's Dive, Dive, Dive. It's all innuendo. There's the bit about Tattooed Millionaire, the song. Right, now, also on here, there is, I'm looking at, well, I can get the track listing from the book, let's just go with that. Alright, so we go on to All the Young Dudes, famously done by Mott the Hoople, written by David Bowie. It's just a great song, and I don't see what the harm is in covering it. I like the cover, I do like this, and I kind of prefer this version over the original, although there are many versions out there. This is probably my favourite version. Licking the Gun, again, it's just stupidity. More than likely, it's all innuendo. I don't know whether it says anything about licking the gun. No, don't think so. Zulu Lulu, just cheesy. Cheesy stupidity. No Lies, right, the last song on the original album. To me, it sounds more Maiden than anything else on this album. In fact, maybe not throughout his entire career, but solo career. But on this album, No Lies sounds more like a Maiden song, particularly of that time. It could have fitted in nicely with No Prayer. It could have fitted in nice on there. Like I was saying, the whole album started with that one request to do the song for Nightmare on Elm Street 5. At the time, Bruce was sort of, yeah, I'll give it a go, and he'd known of Yannick Gears, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but Gears. I always used to think it was Gears. I don't know why. I'm not too sure about how this particularly worked with a lot of bands in the 80s, possibly 70s, but I know it more in the 80s, where they knew so many other musicians. Yannick, I think at the time, was working with Ian Gillan on his sort of solo project band, Gillan. And Bruce wanted to work with Yannick, so he got him in to do Bring Your Daughter, or what would eventually become Bring Your Daughter. And it says in here that it was only going to, he had in his mind, where was it? I don't know. Yeah. It's only going to take a week or so. I've always wanted to do something with Yannick, who at the time, I don't think he was in Maiden. So this was before the No Prayer album. And they were just having so much fun, and they created this whole album plus more, which turned out to be the bonus disc, or B-sides. I do like B-sides with Chin on the album. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. If you're gonna release a single, particularly back then when it was A and B side, you know, you have your A side, it's on the album, great. Maybe a single version of that, or whatever, the original album version, fine. The B side, I don't see the point in having another song from the album, because then what's the point in going out and buying the single? Okay, these days it's kind of irrelevant, but back then, and even now to me, it's relevant. Not really a fan of live, you know, as the B-side, having live songs. Not a fan of that. It's okay. But I do like the unreleased songs, the demo songs, whatever. So on CD2, we have Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter, the original soundtrack version, the original Bruce version. Obviously, we all know the Maiden version. It's the standout song from No Prayer for the Dying. And hearing that for so many years before hearing the original version, it was a nice. It was nice. I don't know how to explain it. It was so different, because once you've heard the Maiden version so many times, you know it. You know, not so much note for note, but structurally, you know it. Probably lyrically, the lyrics are pretty much the same, but it's the way the different instruments used. Maiden had the Maiden element added into it, and I do like the original. The original version, it fits to the movie. I've seen the movie. I can't remember the song being in the movie. Maybe it was in the end credits or something. I can't remember. I've got it. In fact, I watched it barely a month ago, but I can't remember. But yeah, the original version is a great song. If you get the chance to hear the original version, listen to it, especially if you've only known the Maiden version. It's refreshing. Although people are like, no, the Maiden version's better. Yeah, in its own way, it's better. But there's something raw and unpolished about the original. It's very, very strange. Alright, so anyway, then we've got oh yeah, track 2 on CD2 is The Ballad of Mutt, which was the B-side to the Tattooed Millionaire single, which is just sheer stupidity. I don't know whether the lyrics are in here. No, they're not. So I've got the original lyrics, but it's acoustic and it's got the dun 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 dun, dun. Yeah, that sort of effect, and it's just, again, it's just stupidity. I know it was. Here's my chance to bring up the DVD. Right now, this obviously back in the day it was all verse VHS. This is a 3-disc set. I think it's the only DVD that's available for Bruce's solo stuff. DVD 1, no, yeah, DVD 1, right? It's got Dive Dive Live, which I've got on VHS, and I got it way before this came out. And it's great. It's great. Everything sort of goes wrong, you know, the mic's cut out and stuff, but to me that's a live show. You know, if things go wrong, it's a live show. Yeah, it's a bit of an annoyance, but you can tell it's live. It's not any Milli Vanilli stuff going on. Alright, yeah, I think it's on here. Nope, I got it confused with Fog on the Tyne. It's been so long. Right, but Ballad of Mutt is kind of, it's just cheesy, and it's just fun song. That's what this whole album seems to be about, fun. Winds of Change, again, is the B-side of the Tattooed Millionaire single, so obviously the 12-inch, possibly, the maxi single, as they called it. It's not the Scorpions' Winds of Change. That one I can't remember. I really can't remember that song, so I'm going to skip that. I know it's very mellow, ballady, not so much acoustically, but right, so we're going to skip Winds of Change. You'll have to go check that one out for yourself. I know it's a nice song, but there's stuff that I skip over. Ballad of Mutt, Winds of Change, Darkness Be My Friend, and Sin City. I skip over them because I like the live tracks, oddly enough. Right, so yeah, so it goes on to Darkness Be My Friend, which was the B-side to All the Young Dudes single. Is it? I know I've got it, I just can't remember. So Darkness again, Darkness Be My Friend. Again, it has a mellow tempo, very nice vocal melody. It's just nice. What can you say? Some of these songs are just so hard to describe, especially the mellow ones. Wait to get to the next album. Some things on the bonus disc of the next album. Brilliant. Okay, so Sin City. That was, again, another B-side to All the Young Dudes single. That's more electric. And I think, no, that was not so much an outtake, it was unreleased on the album. Like Bring Your Daughter, I think. Can't remember whether it was written and never made it to the final album, or it wasn't an old Thompson song. As you know, by this point, Bruce has been in Maiden for 8 years, maybe 9 years, but officially, Number of the Beast came out in '82. So, Sin City, it's upbeat. It's got a darkness about it, but it's still fun. You know, it's got that early Maiden sort of sound. You know, it fits well with Number of the Beast. It would, possibly. Right, then, we're going to the live stuff. I like this. Okay, I like this stuff. Okay, Dive, Dive, Dive. I'm not too sure whether this is the version. No, it's not. Alright, so it's not the version that's on here, but it is live, and it's such a crowd pleaser. That's something about the whole original album. It's full of crowd pleasers. You know, if you know the song, it's just the audience get into it. And this was a time when we went back to playing just random gigs, you know, for this album, just playing random gigs. amazing. That must be amazing to be able to go back to not forgetting your roots. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go play a pub. Then we've got Riding with the Angels, which is an old Samson song. It's the B-side to Dive Dive Dive, the single. Again, it's an old Samson song, and I love that song. I love this version. I don't think I've ever heard the original version, actually, but I do. I like that. Sin City live, again from Dive 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 single. Live B-side from Dive Dive Dive. What a mouthful! What a mouthful. Okay, so it's just a live version. It's very crowd pleasing to some extent, not as crowd pleasing as Dive Dive Dive. But then we go on to a classic cover. Is this on here? No. Riding with the Angels is, and it doesn't say where the live version was taken from this, but Winds of Change is on here. Sin City, I don't know whether it's on here. It could be the same as Dive Dive Dive, which was live at the Astoria, London, June 1990. This is done in LA. Okay. Yeah, Black Knight. That's where I was going with this. Black Knight. The classic song, which I've recently learned how to play the main riff on bass, and I'm so proud of myself for doing so. If you don't know Black Knight, it's just a classic Deep Purple song. You gotta look it up. I don't care what genre of music. There is something for everyone in that song, whether it's the melody, the bass line, even the drums. I don't know, but it's just a great song. I appreciate every part of that song. Just such a crowd pleasing song. That is a live one from Dive 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 single. Again, 12-inch version probably. And then we go on to Son of a Gun live, taken from the Born in 58 single. So that's probably from here, possibly. It doesn't say. It doesn't say where it was recorded, but it was on the single, so obviously they've took the B-sides from the singles and put them on here, which, yeah, I do like that aesthetic. And then Tattooed Millionaire, which again was a live B-side from Born in 58, the single. Overall, this is a great album. If you're into cheesy sort of cock rock, yes and no. This is, again, it takes the piss out of the cheesy cock rock style at the time. That was big at the time. I'm not too sure how to describe it. It's not Maiden, but it's not Bon Jovi. It's somewhere fitting in between. It's just so hard to describe. And around that time as well, if you look at the B-sides from Maiden's Fear of the Dark album, one particularly comes to mind, which was From Here to Eternity. I couldn't remember. I could see the picture of it because I've got the single and I could see it. I could remember the video, I just couldn't remember what it was called. Yeah, the B-sides on that, it's just piss takes. And the thing is, they're good. They're really good. You know, you got Nodding Donkey Blues and Roll Over Vic Vela and stuff like that. Space Station Number 5. In fact, I think Space Station Number 5 is a cover. Probably Roll Over Vic Vela is. But anyway, while I'm putting this back, right, I need to tell you who was on this album, because there's little bits you may not know. Okay, so Musos, as it's called, Musos, musicians, whatever. Right, so you got Bruce Dickinson, obviously, Mr. Brucey. Okay, and in brackets it says where they're known from. Iron Maiden or Samson. Yeah, Yannick Gers, he was on guitars. Bruce vocals. It doesn't say anything about doing any other instruments. Yannick, it says, now with Iron Maiden. So this is the original notes. Okay, then we've got Andy Carr, who's on bass, known from a band called Three Rivers. And then Fabio Del Rio, who was on drums, and he was known from being from a band called Jagged Edge. The thing with Jagged Edge is there's a couple of different versions of Jagged Edge. There's Jagged Edge UK, Jagged Edge US, which I never knew at the time. I thought there was only one Jagged Edge. Kind of strange. It was mixed by Nigel Eisenhower. I ain't reading that word because I cannot read it. Produced and engineered by Chris Mega. Sorry, dude. I cannot pronounce your surname. I can't even read it. Anyway, the original LP design, which is that, I wasn't really a fan of the way this is. The way the sleeve has it, Bruce is kind of looking like that, and I think it looks a bit more pleasing to the eye. I don't mind all the sort of tattoo stuff that's going on. It reflects everything. But this, it just doesn't reflect anything to me. I don't quite understand that. Anyway, so on the back of it, we've got Bruce. I think on the original, it's not on there. I think on the original album, it had the names of the people, the musicians underneath. Now, so we've got Bruce, we've got Yannick on guitars, as you can tell. I think you can tell there's a guitar there. Now, by the looks of things, yeah, there's no denying. That's Fabio Del Rio on drums, sitting there with nothing to do because you can't pick up a drum kit and say, yeah, look, I've got a snare drummer, I'm definitely the drummer. And then you've got, damn, I've forgotten his name. What was his name? Andy Carr on bass. In fact, it's the same for singers. You don't really see him holding a mic like, yep, I'm the singer. You do always see the guitarist. Yes, I'm a guitarist. And occasionally the bassist. But that is a kind of lowdown on the remastered version of Tattooed Millionaire. And the original album. If I can get this back. If we open this up, in the case, obviously you've got disc 1 and 2. And here it's quite nice that it's got the other albums. Yeah, the other albums. So you've got Boris Picasso, which would be the next one that I look at. Now, this one here, Alive, it's a combination of technically three live albums. It's Live in Studio A, no, Alive in Studio A, and Alive in Studio B. It's also got Scream for Me Brazil in that box set. Then we've got this one, number 3 there, Skunk Works. That one's going to be interesting. Accent of Birth, Chemical Wedding. I actually forgot what it was called because the picture there, I will reference this again when I do this album, but that picture is called Ghost of a Flea. And every time I look at it, for some reason, since finding that out, I keep referring to the album as Ghost of a Flea. And then we've got Tyranny of Souls, which was his latest release at that point, and I think is the most, it's the most up-to-date release. But apparently he's working on something new. Who knows? We'll see what the future brings in this lockdown world that we're in. There's enough time to start writing songs, so if you're a musician, get writing. I need to take my own advice. I'm working on it. Need to learn to play guitar properly and sing properly. That would be very handy. I've got the stuff, I just need to be able to do it. Anyway, I'm Khash Knight. This is my channel. If you like what you're seeing, give it a like, give it a subscribe. You know, I will try my best to do more videos on a more regular basis. It's just the whole lockdown thing is wearing me down. Cannot be asked. Quite simply, it's just like, I don't want to get out of bed. I'm actually in, well, I'm not in bed, but I'm on my bed right now. Now check it out. Check this out. Just thought I'd point that out, right? Yeah, I'm not really one for wearing caps, but covers me bald spot. Alright, so yeah, this anyway, it's not a band, it's it's Metal Cindy. Anyway, she's a singer in various bands. She does the operatic, symphonic metal, very dark metal in the previous band that she's in, and she's a Raiders fan. I don't follow American football, as I call it, so Raiders are just a band, not a band. They're a football team in America, and she follows them, and she's got this makeup, and she's become kind of like a mascot the way she does her Raiders makeup, and she released her own brand of stuff, Metal Cindy. Check it out, look it up on Facebook, and I'm sure she's still got loads of merchandise available. That being said, I've babbled on for way too long. Sorry for the shakiness, you're on my legs. Shake it out. It's Twilight Zone. Right, yeah, you're on my legs. I'm on my lap. Yeah. Laptop's on my lap, where it should be. Okay. Take care. Happy lockdown. See you next time. I'm Khash Knight. See you soon. And I can't find the stop button. What a way to end the video.